In this video, we'll look at using bounce to create soft light and techniques for softening the light on exteriors.
And bounce is a great technique. It's simple, but it's very effective way of softening light. So if I take this light and I put it directly on Takari, let's see. You'll see that it's going to be a pretty hard light. Yeah, so you get some very sharp shadows, right? So I can take the exact same light, and instead of using this light as the light source, I've got this 4-foot by 8-foot piece of foam core, which acts like a gigantic light, basically. So as we saw before, when the light source gets wider, it's softer, right? So now, when I put this in as the light source, now why is it a light source? It's a light source because I'm bouncing the light off of it. So I'm hitting this with that same light, lighting this up, and now we're spreading this light way out and it's bouncing back. Now, of course, when you reflect the light back like that, you lose a lot of it. So I need to turn the brightness up. So I'm going to run the dimmer way up on this thing so I get a lot more light out of it. And that is one downside of bounce, is you lose light through it. But now, same light, same position, much, much softer effect. And you can bounce with anything, you know. I mean, foam core is great, but you know, you can bounce with anything that's, if it has a tint to it, you'll get that tint in your bounce. If you have something that's got a warm or a cool tint or any color to it. But you know, typically you do something white that's just neutral and has a lot of reflectivity. But you know, it's a very available kind of technique. And another thing, you know, we've got diffusion. This is a gel diffusion. This is a very light gel diffusion called Opal. And you can put this in front of any source to soften it. But you can even add this kind of thing to a bounce and even further soften it. You put some diffusion in there. All right, so now we are outside with Katie. And obviously the sun's extremely hard, direct sunlight right now. So if we come in, we'll see, you know, very hard shadows. Right, so how do we soften that? One really simple thing you can do is just bring the person under, you know, a little bit of tree cover, and you know, you get some kind of dappled light. Sometimes that can be soft, or even if it's just broken, a mixture of soft and hard light, it can be a really nice look. So that's potentially a quick thing. If we just spin around, just turn around, Katie. You know, now you've got a much more, that's a nice way to deal with sunlight. But you don't have a lot of key light there. So one thing you can do, and it's also fairly soft, you know, you can use a reflector, and there's all kinds of different reflectors. So this is a big 4x4 reflector, but if I take this and spin it in to hit her face, okay, and you gotta, those things are super bright, so you gotta be careful there, but you know, now I've got her face lit, and still got that nice backlight. So that's actually a pretty nice lighting scheme right there. And then, you know, you also got like smaller reflectors, all kinds of different, you know, sizes and shapes of reflectors, but this is a little, you know, little flex fill collapsible reflector. And can you pan that off so that's off of her? And these things, you know, they're a little more susceptible to wind. You know, they also, you know, so I'm in much, much, much closer now, right? Because this has not got as much throw. But, you know, there are various things. And you've also got a white side, which, you know, is going to put a nice soft, that's going to be softer. So talking about soft light, you know, this white side is nice. And you can use that for fill, too. Even if you had the big reflector as a key, you could use the little reflector as a fill. So another thing we can do is silk off the sun itself. So, Katie, if you can stand in the shadow of that thing. So now we're back to direct sunlight, right? And facing the sun, but we've got this silk here. And so now if you step into the silk, step into the where you were, okay, now we've got a much softer That's a nice soft light, right? So what we're doing is diffusing the sunlight, and that's nice. And then can you pan that onto her, please? And also, if you combine that with your reflector, bring that in, and now your reflector is a backlight. Get it on there. Yeah, there we go. And that's a nice look. You got a nice edge and a nice key light, and you could of course bring the key light so it's not so frontal if you wanted. But you know, so that's a nice technique, is silking off the sun. And silks come in all different sizes. I mean, in the form of flags, you typically have an 18 by 24 inch and a 2 by 3 foot flag version of silk. And then on frames like this one, you know, they come in 4 by 4, which we just call a 4 by, 4 by, 6 by, 8 by, 12 by, 20 by. So, you know, 4 foot, 6 foot, 8 foot, 12 foot, 20 foot, kind of the traditional standard film production grip complement, but other manufacturers make all kinds of gizmos. There are, you know, collapsible frames, and just a variety of different things. You know, there's a flex fill version, you know, and this is that same flex fill we had with the reflector. You know, you've got a silk version of that you could use. And silks come in, this is a full, but they come in full, half, quarter, so you get different levels of diffusion. So, you know, this is a full silk here, and this is a half silk down here. So, well, you can see that, but like, you know, the opacity of that compared to that, you know, and if you look at the effect of it over here, you can see how much darker it is on the full than the half. Click on the next video to continue. New videos drop every couple of days. If you like what you see, like and follow us on our social media channels. And everything is downloadable for free on our website, rucciproductions.com.